Hi, welcome to the first video on code experiments. These kinds of videos aim to make you understand how the Python programming language works by trying to experiment with the code you have written so far. So in other words, I'll ask you to change certain elements in your code and observe how the output changes. This way you are able to see the code from different perspectives and not only from one single perspective as covered in the previous videos of today. So let's start and you'll see how this code experiments videos work. So first experiment. So I need you to follow me. Please remove the second quote in the user prompt variable declaration and run the code. So I'd like you to do the same thing that I'm suggesting. So if you run the code, you will get this output. This is an error that the Python interpreter is generating. So the Python interpreter, which is the software that we installed, is trying to make sense of this script, but it cannot. Therefore, it produces an error. Now, let's read the error. First line is this one in here. That's just the Python interpreter executing our script. So that's the path to the Python interpreter in my computer, and that's the path to main.py file where the script is located. So PyCharm automatically executes this command in your computer, so that's nothing to worry about. But then we have this file, main.py. So this is the file where the error has occurred, and we get this line 1. That's the line where the error occurred. So if you want to click there, it will take you directly to that line, line 1. You also get the line which has the error in here, and it gives you some clue where the error is, more or less, but you have to use your own logic. What happened to the code? What's the problem with the code? So Python cannot fix the issue for you. The interpreter cannot fix the issue. You as a programmer have to understand what the issue is and then change the code. And lastly, we have the type of the error. There are different types of errors which we will encounter as we move on through the course, but this one is a syntax error. So the interpreter says unterminated string literal. So this gives you some clue. The Python interpreter found out that you were about to declare a string since you started to type in quotes. But then the interpreter went up to here and it found out that the string was not terminated. So you need a quote to terminate that. Right, experiment number 2. Change the double quotes to single quotes. So single quote there, single quote in there too. Run the code. To do, clean, and so on. So the code is working fine. So what's the point of this experiment? Well, the point here is that single quotes work as good as double quotes. So some people tend to use double quotes, some other people tend to use single quotes, but if you had here words such as don't, which has this single quote inside, then you have to use double quotes around the string because things will get mixed up. So the interpreter, the Python interpreter, will get confused since you had a single quote here, but then you close the quote in there and Python thinks that, oh, that's the string, and then this other part is confusing. So normally there's a rule of thumb that for long strings you should use double quotes like this. If it's just a short string such as hello, then it's fine to use single quotes. Next experiment. Try to remove one of these parentheses and run the code, and you'll see that you'll get an error. So again, it's a syntax error. It says this parenthesis was never closed. So now you know that you missed the parenthesis here, and then you write it again. You also see that we have these red underlines here. This is from PyCharm. The IDE also does some checking of the script before you execute the script. So you know now that even if you execute the script, you'll get some errors. So if you go in here and you hover your cursor in this underline, PyCharm will say that this closing parenthesis is expected, so that you don't have to run the code. You know that from PyCharm. Next experiment. Try to remove the space between this assignment operator and run the code, and you'll see that the code will work just fine. So I'll close this. So my point with this experiment is to show you that white space doesn't matter in Python. So whether it is with spaces around the assignment operator or not, it doesn't matter for the Python interpreter. However, it is recommended to have space around the assignment operator because it makes the code more readable. So for you as a programmer, it's better to have that space around that. And also PyCharm will suggest me to actually reformat the file. So if I press here, it will automatically add spaces around the assignment operator. And the last experiment I would like you to do is to just put this line here on top and make a space and run the program. You will get an error. So my point with this experiment is to show you that expressions have to be written one in each line. So if you have a variable declaration here, you write it in one line, and that's it. And then another declaration here, you write it in another line. Maybe you do some processing, some formulas, you write the formula in one line. So with that, I'll finish this video, and thank you for following. I'll see you later.